What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I wanted to delve into Tory and Sam. Now, I put these two as a conjoined video because just trying to separate the two of them, it would be me just basically doing verbal diarrhea. And it definitely would make for a better video to have these two characters in the same video. Just with everything that, they've been on in Season 2. So, let's start with Sam. Sam, she's she's a LaRusso. She's a Jersey girl. She's got that LaRusso fire in her. But it's pretty evident that she is, someone called it the catalyst, but again, I'm just going to call it what it is. She's been at the center of every single bit of drama since the show started. Like, she's just been there some way, somehow. The minute her and her friends crashed into Johnny's car, and then, to when she started blaming Miguel for everything, and, even though she showed up at a beach party holding another guy's hand, how do you think he's going to take it? And then, treating Aisha like crap, and then all of a sudden going back to her. A part of me does feel sorry for Sam, because she is in that bracket where, high school girls, or college girls, or university girls even, can be really, really bitchy. So it's hard for her to be part of, as her mum puts it, a clique that other people make fun of. So I do feel slightly sorry for her in that regard. She does have a lot of likable qualities. I like the bond between her and Daniel. It's a very honest, pure bond. I liked her and Miguel together. I thought they were, cute. They were cool. Her and Robby together, I don't mind it, because I don't mind Robby, but, he's a cool dude, but I don't know. I think, as someone said it, I think Miguel and Sam are endgame. But I don't know. After everything that's happened in Season 2, everything's up in the air. But she's a very likable character in some aspects. But I do think that in Season 3, what I want for Sam is to not be in the middle of any kind of drama. Now, obviously, that's going to be impossible because it's a series and it's a story. So, yes, she will be in drama. But I don't mean that kind of drama. I mean the drama where she's always in the middle of some kind of web of problems. I really hope in Season 3 that she gets an arc where, sort of like how Robby and Miguel have been on arcs, and Sam's just kind of been in the middle of it. With Miguel and Robby out the way, this is the perfect opportunity to give Sam a really, really good arc. Because Robby is in, he's inside, he's in the slammer, and Miguel is on the road to recovery in the hospital. So, in that vein, the boys are out of the picture. The boys are completely out of the picture, and whatever Sam gets up to is whatever Sam gets up to. So I think outside of the hospital with Miguel, and outside of the jail bit where Robby is, you're going to see the rivalry between Tory and Sam only just ramp up more. And the boys aren't there to sort of separate them now. So it's going to be just them two going at it all season. So what Miguel and Robby were last season, I think Tory and Sam are going to be this season, but infinitely worse. Because at least Robby and Miguel, there was a mutual understanding in some scenes between the two of them. But I feel like with Tory and Sam, there isn't that. So it's going to be a bit more hostile, a bit more brutal. And I'm just really excited to see Sam get an arc where we can really root for her character on something and really sort of side with her for once. Because I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I have not sided with her on anything. I think the only time is when Tory came up behind her and then, while they were at the skating rink. And then Tory came up behind her, sweeped her on the floor, and then Sam did the same back to Tory. And it was all just a Tory mind game, to make Miguel, get all even more pissed off at her and then get Sam and Robby kicked out. So that was the one time I did kind of side with her. And then also where Tory was about to go overkill with the fight scene in the school and then trying to, basically beat her to death. But I do hope that Season 3 really brings a lot more for her. I think we'll get some flashbacks with her and Daniel training. There was a scene in, I think, Season 1 where it was a flashback and it was Daniel teaching Sam while she was younger. And, he does the Miyagi speech. It's here, but never here kind of thing. It was like a really sweet, sort of family moment to strengthen the bond between Daniel and his daughter. So I really hope that they explore that a little bit more. It'll be interesting to see how she's going to be taking it now that her current boyfriend is inside and her ex-boyfriend is in the hospital. So that will definitely add some emotional kind of leverage to her story. But yeah, I am excited to see what they do with her. She does have a few kind of cool one-liners throughout the 2 seasons. I think the one that sticks out for me is at the end of season 1 where she just goes, "Yes, Warden." So I'm really excited. I really think they're going to do a lot more with her this season, and I'm looking forward to that. To transition into Tory, because then I'm going to, bounce both of them together. To transition into Tory, Tory's introduction was just perfect. It was just such a perfect introduction. New student to Cobra Kai after the Valley Fest demonstration, and who has the balls to take on the champ, and then you think Stingray might do it, and then all of a sudden, I'll take him on. And then, I mean, hey, it could be just me, but there's something about Tory just coming outright and just saying, yeah, I'll take him on. It's quite nice, if you know what I mean. And I think they definitely needed another female character in there just to really give the fighting competition that much more oomph, if you know what I mean. Because I don't see them putting Aisha and Sam against each other. There's too much of a sort of bond there, and it just wouldn't really, I don't know, I wouldn't really like seeing that. But as far as Tory goes, she is the opposite of Sam, because Sam comes from like the rich family, the rich house. Now obviously we know Daniel didn't, but for all intents and purposes, she comes from the rich house, the rich family. She probably won't need to work a day in her life. Whereas Tory's kind of had a bad beat, and the story that she was telling Miguel about the mum who worked the shift and she was going to bring the leftover food to her and her brother. I wonder if they'll introduce the brother and the mother at some point. But she basically brings them the food, then she gets fired, and while she was telling that story, it really does offer you some perspective into Tory's sort of life and Kreese's teachings. This is why Kreese was such a perfect introduction in season 2. And season 2 just really raised and elevated the stakes. What he's talking about, in tournament, it may be a point and then the fight's over. But in life isn't like that. And it feeds straight into what Tory is saying, with the example of, my mum was fired for something that was completely unjust. And then, her working at the skating place to probably just, to live, to try and make ends meet. And it's just such an interesting parallel between Sam and Tory, that they're the opposite end of the coin. And it's one thing that this show does, and I know I've said this before, it's one thing this show does so well, is it shows the grey. Like, it's not... If you watch a lot of films, probably from, I'd say, the early 2000s, like the very early 2000s back to about maybe the 1950s, I'd say, it's very black and white in terms of villains, heroes. Like, you've got your clear-cut heroes. Now, obviously, you can have a protagonist who's on either side. Take Star Wars. You've got Rey and Ben Solo. I see them as dual protagonists. One's on the light side, one's on the dark side. But back in the day, it was just Luke Skywalker, good guy, Darth Vader, bad guy. And then, obviously, they do the twist at the end. But you rarely sort of see a grey sort of introduced this well. I think I have yet to see a product really explore the grey area between characters like Cobra Kai. I don't think there's anything like it at the minute. If you guys have watched something or you've seen something that you think really explores that grey area between characters and opposite sides of the coin, comment down below, let me know and let everyone else know, and then, it'd be another thing to check out. But it really sort of delves into that. I think the Creed movies do that quite well. Creed 2 does with Drago and his son. So I think we are in the age of sort of flipping the script. No pun intended to Hawk. But we are sort of flipping the script, and we're sort of showing the other side of the coin. So you see the story from Daniel's lens, but then what Cobra Kai does is it basically says, right, we're going to shove Daniel to season 2. We're going to show you the story from Johnny's lens. And then back to Daniel, back to Johnny. Back to Daniel, back to Johnny. And it plays it off so well that I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Sam and Tory next season. I really feel like there's a lot of room there and a lot of potential for a great story. Because if you just, if you think about it, they're the only students that we're really interested in that aren't in a really bad predicament. I mean, Bert's cool, and Stingray's cool, but aside from probably Hawk, Dimitri and Chris, there's not a lot on offer outside of the situations that the characters are in. Daniel, Johnny, Miguel, and Robby, they've all got their own individual separate stories to do. So I think Tory and Sam will definitely be a subplot. And it will be like sort of Hawk and Dimitri in Season 2, where they're in scenes together, and it sort of feeds into an overall subplot that culminates in the end of it kind of thing. But given that Season 2 really sort of drew blood between them, I think it's only going to get worse going into Season 3. And I don't see a world where these two actually become friends. I think these two are going to be, bitter to the end kind of thing. I really don't see a world. And I mean, I see a world where Miguel and Robby could be friends. I see that kind of future. Because the one constant that they have is Johnny and Daniel. Daniel and Johnny can bridge the gap for Miguel and Robby and bring them together. But I don't see that happening for Tory and Sam, just because there's so much animosity there. It's not like Miguel and Robby, where it was just sort of boys being jealous, or boys trying to prove a point. This is because, these two girls have had a serious fallout with everything. So I'm interested to see where that goes. But guys, comment down below, let me know. What do you think of Sam and Tory's arcs so far throughout Cobra Kai? Where do you think they're going to lead? And where do you think they're going to go? And what do you think they're going to get up to in Season 3? Do you think we're going to see like multiple rematches across the season? I think it's very possible. I think probably a couple of episodes into Season 3, you're going to see Sam and Tory basically square up. Like they're going to get ready to go at it again. And then a few episodes later, then they're going to hash it out one more time. But I don't know. I don't see a world in where these two can be friends. And I know the show is going for a very grey kind of vibe. But if there's any two characters that you bring on the same page, it's Miguel and Robby. That's the two you bring on the same page. I mean, think of the fights. Think of the fight scenes that you could get if Miguel and Robby are on the same page. That's incredible. Like I have this fantasy in my mind for the end game of Cobra Kai. Just like imagine this. I mean, call it fanboy, call it what you want, but just imagine this. You have Daniel, Johnny, Chosen, Robby, and Miguel against Kreese, Silver, Barnes, Hawk, and another student. Like, just think about how good that scene would be. It would. I mean, is it fanboy? Maybe. But I think you'd be hard-pressed to find any other fan who doesn't want that. There's so much... As soon as Cobra Kai was announced to come back, there are so many matchups that people want to happen. Just look all over the internet and YouTube. People want to see Johnny go against Mike. People want to see Chosen go against Daniel again. They want to see Kreese go against Johnny and Daniel. They want to see Johnny go against Chosen even. It's these crazy matchups that we can now make happen. And I think people even want to see characters like, I think it was Julie Pierce from the next Karate Kid, trained by Mr. Miyagi, the fourth one, the fourth film. So I think that's also another character that could be returning in some way, shape or form. As far as we can believe, Ali's coming back this season in some way, shape or form. But yeah... Guys and girls, just comment down below, let me know what you think, and what is your favourite Sam moment, and what is your favourite Tory moment. And I will see you all in another video soon. And remember, defeat does not exist in this dojo.